This is my shoulder.
1, 2,
CrossFit.
3.
Hey!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Youth Mystery Garage, episode 208, sponsored by Youth Special Tanks. Probably for the first time in 208 episodes, we talked more before the podcast started than we ever have.
That was like a full show, getting ready to start the show.
Yeah, and just talking. Josh was late.
I'm sorry.
Late, which means what? You're rude
and
you
insensitive.
And insensitive.
What was it? What precipitated that? I didn't click on that link.
I read an old blog post, and this guy goes on for like 1,000 words about when you're late to a meeting or when you call the meeting and you show up late or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, I'm running a little bit behind or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't value people. You are undermining your platform.
People
you're
are
arrogant. No, I mean the people that you've called the meeting for. You're rude. You're obnoxious. You don't deserve the position. It was incredible. Well written, good example, the whole bit, and I was like, "Ouch!" and tweeted it out there, and it got a pretty large response.
And then Rick Warren retweeted it.
He retweets it and writes the word convicting. He retweet convicting.
Good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if he retweeted that and didn't write that, I know how many times people would be waiting an hour for him.
It was about me. I mean, the tweet was directed at me because I literally was like,
I thought it was about you. I mean, that's what I got in the tweet.
It was, but then for him,
I knew it was about you.
So what I'm trying to say is, I was a little late today.
Hey everybody, Josh Griffin.
I'm sorry.
Katie Edwards, Queen of Junior High.
Can you apologize?
Douglas Montgomery Fields, and what we like to call
for when I'm late.
the show, Matt McGill. The show. And our executive producer, Seth Bartlett, sitting on the stool, not allowed to have a seat.
I'm about to spend a lot of time on this show.
Sitting on a Coleman cooler in the corner of the garage.
Now let's talk about episode 207 that went up because we've been hearing some feedback that somebody who uploaded the show
whoever edited it.
Okay.
One and the same.
Who does that?
No, it's not. One person.
So tell us what you did, because it's screwed up.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole show is there. It's done in sections.
Yeah. The way the camera works, it doesn't record one giant file, video file.
Okay.
And so it's broken into segments of whatever. So it's 4 files. And normally I pull them all to the timeline, and almost every single time, I check each transition to make sure the transition, do we need to cut a little up the end?
But this time.
But the one time, you do for one what you wish you could do for all.
Yeah, you stand with it.
And what happened is that instead of going A, B, C, D, it's D, C, F, J.
It's just F.
It's totally.
So it's kind of there's 3 sections, and then the fourth section is hey, welcome to episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything is still there. It's just in.
You just gotta kind of want it. You just gotta want it. You gotta
find it. Say bass backwards.
Exactly.
Okay. You know what? Maybe for the 4 segments, why don't we have one of our sponsors, like Youth Ministry 360 takes segment 1.
Oh.
And then we rotate them, Seth. And then Youth Specialties is just always like banner ad at the bottom.
Yeah.
There you go.
We've got serious sponsors that actually pay this award-winning show.
You don't need to have a banner at the bottom when you have those things
Chalkboards. Speaking of sponsors,
that's right.
Youth Specialties.
What do you got?
I have Youth Specialties actually.
Okay.
They wanted to talk today about YS Palooza, an expensive training event, 1-day event in Philadelphia and in Chicago, coming up soon. And also they're
YSPalooza.com.
Yes.
Inexpensive.
Yes. Inexpensive.
Not inexpensive.
Expensive
Actually,
training.
you know what? They have a thing this year that they're trying where you bring your whole team for one price.
Oh, that's cool. No matter how many.
No matter how many.
That last year too.
No, if they did, I don't remember it.
That's a good
This
gig.
year, I'm going to be in
All that
Chicago
Diet Coke, you don't
on
remember stuff.
March 1st and 2nd.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then also YS partners with Planet Wisdom, planetwisdom.com, an incredible event for teenagers. So thankful for them sponsoring the show.
Incredible because you're one of the MCs for that, correct?
I'm not. I'm not doing anything with Planet Wisdom.
Oh,
that'd be fun someday.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I took my small group there last year. They loved it.
Oh, it looks good. When they come to Orange County, I'd like to sneak up and see it.
It's in April.
Yeah. Anyhow, YS.
Edrin Williams from Minneapolis,
Edrin?
Minnesota.
Not Edwin.
Edrin. I'm about a year into creating a Sunday school experience for junior high students. Ooh, Katie, the queen junior high.
Ready. This is you. Get ready.
All right. We don't even know anything about junior high, so we always look to you.
Never.
The group is about 30 to 35 students each week, but if everyone were to show up at once, the group would be about 50 to 55. Our church meets in a local middle school. A few weeks ago, we started meeting in the gymnasium due to the need for more space. It works great for games and activities, but the space seems a little impersonal during small groups and talks. Any ideas for making the space more welcoming and relaxing? Which really isn't a junior high question, but how do you make space welcoming and relaxing?
It's kind of a style question.
Welcoming,
Katie's got
relaxing probably falls off. I think that's, well, it's awesome that you need more space, that things are growing, that students are coming. I mean, you're obviously doing something right, that, the students are excited to bring their friends, or, so that's super cool. We meet in a gym, and we definitely, our gym at times dwarfs our congregation of students. So there are definitely little things that we do to kind of help make the space just seem a little bit smaller, and a little bit more intimate.
Like what, Katie?
Well,
talk to us about your sprucing.
Our sprucing. Well, we have kind of there is a stage in our gym, but we do a little bit of a smaller stage in front of that, and kind of bring the chairs in a little bit more intimately around that. So kind of have like our space where we do our program, our teaching, and that kind of thing, so it feels like they're kind of drawn in. And then in other parts of the gym, we have, some fun, game stuff kind of area where that's happening. We have kind of a little welcome center kind of as you walk in, where, new students that come in are greeted and can pick up info. And so there's just kind of some different sections that we've created in our gym, I don't know, just to make that big space feel a little bit smaller and more intimate. So
I would say there's got to be somebody in Edrin's church who understands space, interior design, the whole bit. So great, maximize the games, the gym, the whole bit. You all right there, buddy?
I think I'm losing along.
Yeah. But I'd move everybody into a corner, couches, whatever. Anything you can do to make the space seem smaller.
Quite warm and roomy.
They are. But here's the deal. There's somebody sitting in your church who hasn't served your church the whole time he or she's been there, is waiting for somebody to ask them to get off their butt and serve, and they are going to give you time and passion and heart and energy, and probably pay out of their own pocket to make it happen, because you're saying there's somebody in our church who could help us.
And maybe they bring a little milk too, some milk and cookies.
Yep.
And junior hires, I think, need a little bit of training, so kind of training them on where to make it welcoming and relaxing. I think by creating that space in the corner, or creating kind of that intimate space where you're doing whatever your program is, your teaching or whatever, kind of, hey, when we're here in this space, this is what's happening. And so it does kind of relax them a little bit. And then we go over here and we're crazy. We play games and that kind of thing.
Crazy games.
Hey, but you said welcoming and relaxing, which made me think of the Refuel Retreat that LeaderTrex is putting on April 17th through the 19th. So you can rest and relax. You can be collaborative and practical. It's priced affordable. Go to refuelretreat.com, and we're going to send Edwin Williams from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Leading Youth Ministry by Doug Franklin. It's an interactive resource to help youth workers grow in leadership.
On interior design.
I think it does.
What if we had people send pictures of their youth rooms? Would that be cool to have?
That'd be fun, like how you set up your space, like
along with their last names.
Yeah.
Great idea, Miguel.
We had a volunteer one year make out of PVC pipe. He just made a simple, literally pipe and drape. We put some canvas on it or whatever, and it made some really portable light room dividers that were fun.
That's great.
So they lasted for a while. I mean, they're not not resilient, but it worked. It was good.
Makes the space feel a little smaller.
Pull it in tight. It's good.
Yep. So if they were to do that, could they at Youth Ministry Garage, you can't upload, you can just submit.
No, but we could have people share their creative ideas, and then everybody could kind of see each other's secrets and all that kind of stuff, and how they built certain things. We should create a hub for this.
Okay.
Photos would be better. Can you figure it out?
Photos and a quick description.
It's very directive.
Yeah,
it was very.
How would they put photos on? How would they do photos on Youth Ministry Garage?
What do you think? One of your interns?
Okay.
Hey, get over here and give me some coffee.
All right. Hey, speaking of Youth Ministry
Facebook
Garage.
page? What about Facebook page?
Speaking of Youth Ministry Garage.
I'd like to speak of the Youth Ministry Garage.
There's a Facebook page and a website called downloadyouthministry.com. We said we were going to announce the caption contest winner. It's Wes Henson. Wes Henson.
Congratulations, Wes.
Good job, Wes.
And what am I
Funny.
supposed to do with this now?
You pray for
Because
him.
if you join our weekly newsletter now, you get $1 product.
I like that.
Oh.
Download and enter our contest to win freebies. Wes Henson, you won the caption contest. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Great job.
Wes.
Wes.
Are you talking
Well
about the
done.
high quality resources from DYM?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Inexpensive trench-tested resources from downloadyouthministry.com.
All right, this is
Anticlimactic.
this is a please keep anonymous because last week the show was
Lightning
It's been a
round
while
anonymous.
since we've ruined one of those.
Please don't use my name.
we.
You.
Yeah. I've been a youth pastor at a church for just over a year.
I know who it is.
This person is actually out of the country. So he's one of our.
North Dakota.
I've been
Bruno
getting pummeled.
Not California.
I'm getting pummeled
Here,
by
here,
some of the
here.
leaders on the youth ministry team who constantly say, quote, the previous leaders didn't do this or that. We don't agree with that decision, etc. I have hardly made any changes since taking on the role as I've attempted to make a slow transition to the changes that I see are vital for the future of our ministry. I've endeavored at every step to include leaders in the discussion and the decision making. Most of the team are on board with the direction of the ministry and support me in my role as youth pastor. The issue is the minority who don't support the ministry direction or me being in the role of youth pastor.
Oh, fire them.
When is the point where it's time to ask people to step aside from leadership if they can't get on board? I've inherited a team who may have been used to a certain way of doing things, and some are making life interesting. Any advice would be appreciated.
How long have they been there?
Over
Didn't
a
say.
year.
Didn't say.
Yeah. I've been for just over a
Oh,
year.
just over a year.
So
Yeah.
over a year.
Feels
That's
like
a
it's
long
time.
time.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
So what would you do?
I think you sit them down
Oh.
one-on-one. You know? What are you
You
going to
wanna
I
do-
agree.
Why don't you do a role play with Katie? Ready?
Okay.
No.
I don't do role
No,
plays.
yeah, you do.
I never have.
You
in
do
my life.
role-playing games.
I
but
don't
not role-play.
I don't even do melodrama.
No,
Okay,
I
then-
watched
then-
my last role play on the podcast.
And you
and
did
it was
great.
embarrassing.
No, you were fabulous. Okay, Matt, you stop talking.
No.
Okay.
Stop talking.
Matt.
Josh,
Oh, okay.
you and Katie. Ready?
Okay. Hey, I don't think you're a very good leader.
Wait.
Yeah, I went first. I got to choose which one I
you
wanted.
be the youth pastor.
No.
And I'll be the volunteer.
So I don't think you're a very good leader. I really like the last guy.
You're fired.
You can't take away my guys.
No, I think.
So you feel the passion of that
Okay.
scene we just did?
We'll role play for real.
Okay, all right.
Ready?
Hey, I've just been struggling with this whole thing. Been struggling.
I totally can see that you're struggling. I've kind of seen that in just kind of your words and your actions over the last few months, and I can see that we're, just going in different directions a little bit. You
Yeah.
are in the direction of the old youth pastor, and I really needed you to be on board with me. Why don't we have you take a break for a while and kind of reevaluate if this is the ministry for you, if I'm the leader that you want to follow. I'm the leader that God's charged with this ministry, and so I gotta move in the direction that I feel like He's leading me. And if you're not with me, then I think we should take a break.
I really love my guys. I don't want to give up my small group. And is there any way? What do I need to do? Is there any way we can come up with a compromise, or what do you think?
I don't think there's a compromise. I think at this point you're kind of either on board with me or not. And so we need to either move forward in this direction or not. So this is where we're headed. Let me kind of relay out for you where I'm headed and where I see God leading us.
Okay.
And if that's not where you want to be, then I think it's time to part ways.
There's a great church down the road. Matt McGill's the pastor. I'm gonna go over there.
Good.
Suck it.
Suck it. You're gonna say something.
Okay, here's the deal, Katie. You quickly, and I want to talk, said to why don't we take a break? You didn't even give him opportunity to discuss it. You just went right into because you had in your mind you had made it up. This guy's Josh is messed up. You can tell he's been a jerk.
I'm making some assumptions on that email that some conversations have taken place
Okay.
already or
So
something.
this isn't the first.
Because it's a
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
time frame.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming that maybe something.
Okay,
There's
so
been a
as a
conversation
leader,
between
there
them.
are times you'll go into a meeting with, this is the outcome that I want. This
Yeah.
isn't really open for discussion. this is the outcome I want, and because you jumped into it pretty quick.
And I would say, again, the time frame contributes to that, because to me, a year is plenty of time for people to pray, realize, decide.
They know in their
He's
heart.
probably come into that meeting already making decisions about you. Yeah. So I think in order to kind of, I would say, assert your leadership a little bit, since this is a little bit of a leadership issue, I think you kind of got to lay out, here's what we're going to do, or here's where we need to go, in or out.
Yep.
In this time frame.
Strong.
If this was like I'd only been there 2 months,
Yeah.
that might be a more, hey, let's unpack this. Where are the issues?
Yeah, I've noticed that it seems like there's tension when you and I get together, or when I'm with the volunteers, I'm leading, I see your eyes roll, or your actions present that you're going in another way. Absolutely. Let's talk about where this is coming from. I like what you did, because I feel like you moved it to a place where you needed it to be, as opposed to giving a lot of opportunity for dialogue.
Totally.
And again, you've made an assumption. There's already been maybe strike one, strike two. It's time to move somebody on. And I think for people, this guy writing in and other people that have never been in that experience before, just because somebody's volunteering doesn't give them the right to life in that ministry. And it doesn't mean that they have, just because they go to that church or that they're tithing, they have to be involved in your youth ministry. No, they don't. They, if they're being divisive to your leadership, there's probably chances, a good opportunity to move them on.
And being a little bit more thought through, like even starting out with taking a break, I'm not even sure that I would have that kind of grace in this conversation after 4 seasons. After we've gone through 4 seasons together, I think I don't know if I would give you the option for a break necessarily.
Well, it could be a break with an asterisk, and the little asterisk is 5 years from now.
Yeah, not a chance.
Maybe even in my anymore.
Hell freezes over.
But I don't know. I think in those scenarios, like, you could end up going around in circles with somebody and being in a conversation like that, back and forth for an hour or two, and I think that's where you don't want to find yourself in, if you've got 6 of these volunteers that you're maybe going to move on or give these options to.
Right.
I just don't think that you want to spend that kind of time. If you already know in your heart, you've prayed over it, I think just need to make the call, make some decisions, and move forward with it. So you're not
a meeting like this, when it gets to this point, you're not going to change the other person's mind, and they're not going to change yours. Now you might have some confusion. You might have some confusion. Now tell me where you're at on this. Now is this how you really feel? So you might still be in an assessing phase of it's time for this person to go, yes or no. But if you know it's time, then you want to move straight to it and just pull the trigger. I think part of it is also, I just said the word time, but also timing overall. So we had a leader that honestly, when I first got there, he had been around for a long time, and I felt like he was a mediocre volunteer, but nothing was really like, oh, you should leave because of this. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't divisive either. So, but then the second year, he came around. It kind of became obvious. And my point is that wait till if you can wait till the right time.
Sure.
And so you don't have to do it, 3 months after school starts. But at the same time, if it needs to happen, it needs to happen.
Sure, timing is, and I would say doing it a little bit more lovingly. And
you guys obviously went quick, but I think the point is there are times to move people on. They're just not, they're not getting it. Sometimes they need a stinging conversation, maybe a couple months ahead of time, to say, we actually, when we were at your house a couple weeks ago, we drove by Mimi's Cafe.
Yes.
And I said to Kathy, that's where I had a conversation with, and I mentioned the person's name, and it was a very difficult conversation. It was when I first got to Saddleback, and he was a volunteer who had been there, and he was just kind of a jerk. Yeah. And he was in the business.
You made him drive all the way up here.
What?
You made that guy drive all the way
No,
up
he worked in Irvine. I met him in Irvine at Mimi's Cafe, and we had a very difficult conversation, but it was a conversation that changed him.
Who was it?
It wasn't the foundation for letting him go later? Or it could have been?
No, this was one where you need to change, or we need to...
Or it's over.
Yeah, and I was there maybe 4 months, but...
It was drastic, though. I mean, that was...
Well, he was an idiot. And
but sometimes we just avoid it. When you know, and you're like, I'll just see if it sorts itself out.
When you say
soon,
he's an idiot, because so many people fall in that category.
But those are scary conversations, and I would say don't be scared when you know in your heart
I had diarrhea
that
for a
it's the
week
right,
before. Yeah.
But don't be afraid. God will provide. He said something about his guys. You don't want to leave his guys, and so sometimes we're afraid to move someone on because we think, oh gosh, who's going to fill that spot, or go to the practical places.
Absolutely.
But I think God provides in those scenarios when you know it's the right thing to do. I don't know.
Yeah, it's great.
That's great.
This is a question, and we're gonna give his name is Bobby Wiener, and
Please don't use my name. Because he's not sensitive, he's just sensitive about his name.
Yeah. No, we're gonna give him we're gonna send him something from Youth Ministry 360.
All
We're gonna
right.
send him the new First Steps for New Christ Followers.
Sweet.
And speaking of Youth Ministry 360, I talked to the guys on the phone
I
today.
get to do one of the advertisements.
Did you talk to him on the phone today? I talked to Les and Andy today.
Both of them?
Both of them.
Wow.
I was on a conference call with them. And
I like both those
they
guys.
have something that they're launching this Monday, so by the time the show's out, it will have been launched, Youth Ministry 360. They wouldn't tell me what it was.
What?
They want me to be surprised. So I've got to wait till Monday to go to
I
their
love
site.
surprises
They told me
sometimes.
what it was.
They did.
When I know they're good.
Element?
No.
They
No.
told me.
But here, try it for free. You
Let's
can
give
try
it
some
away.
of their content
You
for
don't know what
free
it is,
Yeah,
by
spoil
using Holiness Study. I should have probably read this ahead of time. Brand new Bible study curriculum, the building blocks of faith, elements designed to teach your students 25 core concepts using powerful three lesson studies. It's easy to teach, Bible-based, inexpensive, and 100% downloadable. Try it free using the Holiness Study. YouthMinistry360.com/elements.
Love it.
Holiness study. Feeding your self-righteousness one page at a time.
Tagline. Trademark that.
Good. All right.
Great stuff.
Here is Bobby Wiener's question from Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. Hey, gang, I'm currently struggling with something involving my...
Seriously?
What?
That's ridiculous. That's the guy's name is Bobby Wiener?
He's written in before.
He's written before. We've had this giggle before.
Oh.
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Old.
I would say Wayner.
Wiener?
Let's see.
Like that's better?
Oh, it's Mount Pheasant.
Don't make me pronounce things. Don't make me do that.
Remember the time years ago we had the show where it was all the... We had Intercourse, Pennsylvania, and...
It was a great show.
That was a show. I'm currently struggling with something involved in my youth ministry. I want to see if you can help. Our youth pastor is leaving to another church, and I'm concerned about the future of our ministry. I'm currently the longest running, consistently active volunteer in our youth ministry, and I've taken an interest in the soon-to-be vacated position.
Cool.
But our church has some history of settling for nothing less than Jesus himself taking the role.
Wow.
I'm glad they place a high importance on the position.
You can afford him.
But that means that they will look nationally to get the quote-unquote perfect person rather than go with someone who is already familiar with the ministry.
Wow.
I know I'm not the most qualified person, but I feel that I bring the sense of familiarity and ownership to the ministry that I've invested a lot of time in already.
Yeah.
I admit that I'm struggling with the idea of entitlement, that my time I volunteer should entitle me some recognition. But my thought is, wouldn't it make more sense to hire someone in-house rather than bringing in a complete stranger? I admit,
Two theories on
I've
that.
never been part of the youth pastor hiring committee, so I don't know what is normal. Also, I fear I'll have trouble supporting someone new after getting snubbed, which feels like that's happening to me, by our church leadership now. Assuming they do find who they feel is the perfect candidate, how do I work at getting behind the person in light of my disagreement with the hiring process? Thanks. Your podcast continues to be a huge help in educating me to be a better leader. Bobby Wiener.
So has he actually
Has he
already
thrown
been
his name in
rejected?
that? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that would be
Way
my
to go.
first
We're on the same page.
Love you.
I'm going to assume it, and I'm going to go so bold as to say, Bobby, if they wanted you, they would hire you.
Wow. Look
Yep.
at you.
Do you think?
Hurting feelings left
Do you
and right.
think
No,
that
I'm
Breaking
just saying,
hearts.
I'm thinking of
Maybe
somebody
they
that has
don't know.
been part of the high school ministry forever at
Yeah.
Saddleback, a volunteer.
Yep.
We'll just say that person's nameless. If you were to leave and he would throw his name
Or
to
her.
Kurt and say, Kurt, I'm really interested. I've been, a volunteer for 15 years.
Right.
I think Kurt would go, I don't
Yeah.
think so. I mean, if they wanted him, If they want him, they'd already know.
But they
That's
might
my
not know he's
question.
available.
Has that step
It
been
doesn't
made?
matter if you're a good leader. You're gonna find out. I don't care if somebody's available or not. If I think they're the right
Yeah,
person,
but that's because you know how to go after people, and you're great at that. You're great at that.
Ooh,
Most people aren't great at
That
that.
was great, and that was a great tender voice, Matt. That shows you the
Super
sincerity of that
tender, yeah.
compliment. It wasn't just like you're great at that. It
Everything
was
I
like,
say
"You're
is
great.
tender. Everything I
You're
say
great
is
at
tender.
that. You really are. Feels totally different, isn't it?
So,
You're
like,
great at that.
now, you guys know that I'm great at hiring because I've hired all of you.
Yes,
So-
you're the best. Now he's like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
No, I think I know it's rough. I know it's rough, and it seems a little coarse. I don't know what you just
I
said.
just said I kind of had to fight to be hired.
Well, I had to fight against the Lord.
Oh.
That's not true.
But I think Bobby that
Maybe now, though.
if they wanted you, and you might be the best person, but sometimes a prophet is not valued in his or her own country. That you might have more credibility going somewhere else.
Loose Mark 14, whatever. It's kind of in
It's
there.
Mark 14?
I have no
Good
idea.
job.
What in the world? It might be Mark 12, okay?
I doubt it.
Or Matthew 8. I have no idea.
Or Old Testament.
No, it was about Jesus when he went back to
He was
Nazareth.
quoting the Old Testament.
But
Love.
it
All right.
could be. Is it possible it's Mark 14?
Let's stop.
You version it right now. So I would say just make sure your due diligence is done. While you might be invisible, it could be because they have no idea what's going on in the youth ministry, and everyone in the youth ministry is invisible to them, and they're re-engaging, and they don't know what's happening. So yes, I agree. At the same
How
time,
have you thrown your
just
name in
make
the
sure
hat?
that
Yeah.
it's not ignorance that's withdrawn.
Do you see how this email is the opposite
Yeah.
perspective of the last one? I mean, it's the same question in a way, you know, from the youth pastor's point of view. Hey, I have somebody here who's not on my page. You could become that person.
Yeah.
See,
Well,
now-
and I
that's what I like the heart
appreciate
behind
that
it.
about
Yeah.
him, about
Yeah.
Bobby saying, I don't know if I can support the guy.
I already sense a little jadedness in my heart.
Sure.
That's pretty self-aware.
Yeah, you have to be,
That's huge.
to not sense that.
Yeah.
But
say it
it
out
might
loud.
be time. This might be time for you to go look for a youth pastor job somewhere else. You know, I mean, if you're called to youth ministry, you're called to youth ministry. Do you have to be called? You know, if you're called to youth ministry in your church, this context, then you absolutely have to get behind the guy because that's what God's calling you to do.
Sure.
But if God's calling you to youth ministry, then you do whatever you can to find a youth ministry position.
Well, I think we have to just be okay with the church culture. Like the church culture could say, we don't look within. We go
Yeah.
first to outside of the church. And some
churches only hire within.
only look within. So
Is it Granger that only does within?
I think so.
You have to be a volunteer for a year or so before.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't know if there's only. I mean,
You're right. There's
No,
exceptions
but
to that.
they
exception to
stay.
every
Of
rule like
course,
that.
there's
I just think
exceptions.
he's been around for a long time. Somebody on the search committee has brought his name to the table. People have gone no for whether it's right or wrong to Bobby. They know that
You're just talking about reality.
He's a potential, and
No,
and they're not going to hire him. So he's got to determine is he going to be supportive, and you don't want to be divisive. So if you can't be supportive of the new guy, one, begin that prayer journey now, seek accountability, come public with it, the whole bit, so that by the time the new guy gets there, you're ready to cheer him on.
Yeah.
Or like Matt said, go find another.
Yeah.
Could you step up? Could you step up and be the interim? Volunteer yourself as the interim and say, "Hey, I'm stepping up as the interim, and I'm also throwing my name in the hat officially. I will support the next guy, gal, whatever, but let me prove it." Is that an option?
It would be an option if you were a potential candidate. But for me, if I'm in that position in the hiring committee and I'm going, we've pretty much already written
Not
off.
our guy.
Yeah, this guy's.
I'm not going to set you up for more pain and
False
failure.
hope, even.
Sure.
And for some of the kids that engage with you and now they're mad and they leave when Bobby leaves,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Tough love.
But you're getting stuff from Youth Ministry
But if they
360.
don't- yeah.
But I'm not saying this is Bobby's fault.
Sure.
Because he might be the star of the show. I'm just saying they already know who you are, and for whatever reason they've written.
And
written
I'm
you
saying
off.
they might not know who you are.
I don't
mean,
know
it doesn't-
because I'm doing the hiring process, and the first thing that I thought of was who do I have? Like who is with me right now? Like that was
Yeah.
definitely my first
Yeah. Who
thought,
do you
and
know
not
about, heard
that
about,
the people
key
that with me
volunteers?
aren't qualified. I just knew I didn't think I knew anybody that was a fit on my current my current situation. So
You always know me. Just remember.
well, I have not turned you into 100 times. So you keep turning me down. I'm too tough of a boss. You wouldn't survive.
You are a good boss.
I know. I was just let go. It was really rough. That volunteer conversation. Sorry, I'm a little off my game today.
No.
That
Wait,
was
you
tough.
ordering Seth
I'm
around?
that
very
role play.
loving. I swear, I'm loving
play's
disturbing
funny,
this
guys.
conversation.
Right.
Did you have your
With
thing?
Grant, you have to be straightforward and direct.
Did you
though.
do the
Man.
movie with your men's staff? What did you do with that?
I took them on a mandate because I took the
Right.
girls
You
out
might
and
not
then
call it that, but
I
that's-
took them the guys out on my team.
Yeah,
We
so
saw
what did
a
you do
movie.
with the girls?
The girls, we went and did manicures and pedicures.
So totally lame.
And then the guys, we went to see the movie Jack Reacher.
Oh, great movie.
Total
Lame
dude movie. Like,
So
no
lame.
love story whatsoever. Like,
What?
total
He was in
dude
love with
movie.
fighting. What do you mean
And,
no love story?
and ammo and guns, yes.
Totally.
But it was great. It was
It
fun.
was a-
All right, this is from
Everybody loves
Steve
something.
Carvalho from
Not that movie.
Forked River, New Jersey.
Forked River.
Hello, love your show. Been a long time listener, first time asker. I'm the youth pastor in my church where I was saved. It's pretty great and seeing some great ministry happen there. Here's my question. Yesterday we had a high school male senior commit suicide.
Oh.
As imagined, our relatively small town is in a mess, high school students included. The student himself did not attend our ministry, but had friends in the ministry. I've not had the opportunity to reach out to the family yet because I do not have their contact info. Can you guys give me tips on how to minister not only to our students, but also the community at large? Maybe you've had some experience in this area. Thanks for your help. I wish this question could have been more lighthearted. I never thought my first question to you would be in this capacity. Love you guys and truly appreciate your ministry to non-ministry moguls.
Silly.
Steve from Forked River, New Jersey.
Oh, nice.
Well, the first thing is the whole how do I minister to my students and the community. I think you got to start with your students. I mean, you got to take care of the sheep that have already been entrusted to you, and that's the big thing. I think that to miss their because you're trying to shoot for reaching that family that might not want to be reached, or do something for the community that might not work. So I mean, I think I don't hear you saying that you want to do that. That's just the first thought that came to my mind. I think that in situations like this, in crisis mode, there's the people, the students, the people, the families that are close to it. They're going to need more of an emotional response, more of a comfort, more of the ministry of presence. I feel like, there's practical ways that you can help. I mean, and since this is removed, though the family doesn't go to your church, you might not have a ton of those. But I think that there's definitely there's a care, there's a pastoral, there's a heart piece, and that's what you lead with those types of people. And I think that there are some people that are more on the fringe, that are a little bit more removed, and this will be a small percentage, but they need to, and they want to, they're grappling with it as a theological issue. They want to know the truth about it. They need to know what the Bible has to say, and why does this happen, and where does it, if you commit suicide, you automatically go to hell. I mean, there's things like this. Why do bad things happen? How can, is depression, what is depression? I don't know the specific issues, but I think that to only lead with, hey, here you go, like that's important, and that's the most important. But then there's also an opportunity. There's also an opportunity to do some teaching. Not that you would necessarily do a seminar after church, but there is an opportunity to do that. I think there's the emotional and the mental. And depending on who needs what, you can provide some of that. And I don't know if that's stuff in writing, for the mental, the teaching, that maybe it's writing and people can pick it up, so it's not like, let me tell you what let me respond as a professor.
I'm just picturing, you've got 30 kids in your youth ministry, and you're sitting on a stool after the message and the prayer and the song, and you just say, hey guys, this is a big deal. And you talk through what happened, just kind of put it out there.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to address it briefly even there, like, hey, there's a couple good questions that are brought up, or let's pause and pray for the family, and let's, those of you that are closer to the family, let's rally some support, and let your student leaders even come up with a couple of ideas of what you could do for the family, or, even a simple thing like putting this date into your calendar so that you can be reminded to show up a year from now. and minister to this family, and
Yep.
those are all really big. This is a big,
to go
big
practical. How do you engage the community? Let your students come up with the reasons to how to engage the community.
Well, this is just a great opportunity for the church to be the church.
Yep.
And this is when, tragedy hits like this. This is when we need to come alive. We drop what we're doing. Whether you have their contact info or not, you figure it out. You get there, you show up with food or flowers or a card or something from the youth ministry at, First United Methodist Church. If there's anything we can do, leaving a phone number.
Yeah.
But I think all the things that you said are great opportunities to engage, but not to be afraid to talk about. I think especially when it comes to suicide, it feels so taboo that we want to distance ourselves from it. And I think that's an opportunity to lean into it and use it as a, kids are now sitting at the edge of their seats, where you could do a 3-week series on suicide outside of the context, and they're not carrying as much. But now all of a sudden we're leaning in. What does it mean to be a friend? Bullying. Just this whole idea of inviting people to look at the loners on your campus. Who are the ones that you could have lunch with? Challenging your student leaders. Seth, how would Remedy Live? I was thinking of the Soul Medicare. How would Remedy be a helpful resource?
It's perfect though, because a lot of times as youth workers, when stuff like this hits, you don't really know what to do. You don't have great resources, and they have tons of resources for dealing with these difficult issues. And so, first their website, RemedyLive.com, is a great resource. So go there and check out what they have. But it's stuff that you can send your teens directly to. They can watch videos and learn. Yeah. But they're also looking for more online volunteers at soulmedicmedia.com. They're wanting youth workers to get involved and be a part.
Cool.
It's only a 1 hour a week commitment. It's something you can do from your church office or home.
There you go.
Yeah. Great message.
Yeah, Steve, I'm sure.
What about things to avoid? A couple things to avoid?
Well, I think the things to avoid are easy answers.
Yeah, I wouldn't show up to the house
distance.
with here's 7 things you need to know or whatever. You don't want to be trite.
Well, and don't you think honor their space as well? Like the family might not have. I'll give you an example. We actually had an attempted suicide of a student who's never been a part of our ministry, but the family goes to the church today, and they originally we had to get up to the hospital, and we're talking about it, rallying, going, and the family said, we just need some space right now. We don't. Thank you. We love you, but please don't come up. So in this case, we're actually honoring their request and not showing up. Yeah. I know this is assisted suicide, a little different, or attempted suicide, excuse me. But I think honoring their request is really important as well.
Absolutely.
I think that, and that's like one of those things that a phone call up front or something like that to check in before you visit, because sometimes distance is not the answer. Sometimes I think we get afraid, and so we think, I'm just going to wait a little while. I'll wait a couple months.
And eventually you never go.
And then we never go. So I think like it's like yes and no with space. I think sometimes yes, but checking in ahead of time or something, or dropping something off like you said, and like, hey, we're not going to stay. Just wanted to drop this off. Let us know if you need anything. That kind of thing. I think. Because I think sometimes our fear as youth workers of not knowing what to say or not knowing what to do keeps us from actually doing stuff. So. Yeah,
I agree.
That's strong.
Just a month ago, one of the kids that we know well, his dad died, and he texted me in the morning, and I went to, I called him and said, hey, I'm coming over, what do you want me to bring? And he said, I want you to bring Kathy. Kathy doesn't knows him because he's been in our house for Wednesday night Bible study for years, but doesn't know the mom. Yeah. Met the dad maybe once when he dropped his son off, but this boy wanted Kathy there to engage with mom. And one of the things he was saying is that everybody's kind of stayed away today, and today's the day when we need everybody the most. Yeah. So I just think it's interesting that
Plus, Kathy's a total stud.
Well, Kathy said
I had to choose between the two of you. It wouldn't even make
No, we all would.
No,
Totally.
What I told Kathy, I actually said David wants
so funny about that.
you to come over with me, and she goes, absolutely, of course,
Totally.
and which is maybe a little different than my response. Really?
Oh.
I mean, probably my first would have been me. I don't even know them.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh yeah. That's awesome.
You would go.
we go.
Tender voice Matt's back. I like it. Dude, you totally.
Tender voice Matt.
You totally would.
I laugh like
Batman,
You're
kind
great.
of.
You're great.
Batman.
Joker's not gonna get you.
I did a super loud bark laugh at the Wahoos today, and I might have been the loudest I've ever done it.
Oh wow! Did the glass shatter?
Everybody.
Someone made you laugh, or you made yourself laugh?
No, that
He
laugh
was
was
alone.
always
That's usually.
Yeah, it's a good question.
No,
It's
but the
valid.
loud bah is
Yeah.
never myself.
That's
I never
actually
make,
the
I
spirit.
never make
Yeah.
myself do that. I'm always laughing at something somebody else did.
Yeah, you never make us do that either. You're not as funny as you think you are.
Try to help you out there.
Thank you.
Oh.
It was
See?
great. though.
Good
Hear that?
story.
All right.
Good story, Matt.
See, she makes us
We're on
laugh.
the same page.
We are.
Not anymore.
We
Jokester.
Oh,
We
man.
We're not on
are.
the same page anymore. Sorry. Stupid. Here we go.
All right. Hey,
I'm
I'm running kind of low on questions.
Oh,
So-
all right.
which
so-
means you lost a bunch.
Yeah, the elaborate filing system
Yes. So if you
I
send a
haven't
question in that we did,
failed in years.
failed. Is there any chance that, Seth, would you want to take over printing the questions and prepping the show? Is
you
it?
have an iPad. Why isn't it all digital?
It will be one of these days.
No, it's too distracting. All the other alerts and
No, I
can't
don't,
be
I don't
like
live
you.
like
Do
you
not
guys
disturb.
do.
Okay.
You and McGill and Seth and you.
Yeah.
Seth, I meet with Seth in my office, and his phone is zzz, 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 zzz. It's like Facebook alerts.
That's kind of a big deal, though.
Yeah.
No, it's dumb. Yeah. I only have your two tweets that come to my phone.
I've trimmed way down. Literally and figuratively.
Hey, how is Youth Pastor Diet going?
I weigh 298.0 pounds.
Way to get under 300.
The lowest that I've weighed in California.
That is awesome.
That is
This-
great.
I know I don't quite look like
No,
it.
I can
because
tell.
it's
No,
redistributed a little,
you're
but
in your face for sure.
yeah, 298 feels
I think
really
you're ready
good.
for synchronized dancing.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Should we go public on
Synchronized
Matt's failure on this?
Oh boy.
No.
Well, here's the deal.
I don't
Matt,
think it's not
No.
a failure.
well, Matt was like, I need accountability. I need accountability. So we set up this
No,
elaborate
that's-
system.
I remember
That
you
is
telling me.
a lie.
It's pretty elaborate.
Is
And
it-
no,
it's
the
pretty
system is a lie. You changed the subject.
Didn't he say he needed accountability?
He needed accountability.
You said,
And
hey,
we
let's
said-
do this. What about this? And what about numbers? And this is the way we're doing it. Would you be in, Matt? And I go, well, for me, yeah. At that point, I said, for me, I don't need competition. I need accountability.
Right.
So we
You brought it up. I didn't come to us and say,
Well, I didn't-
hey.
I didn't bring up accountability. You brought up the accountability.
yeah, your self-awareness brought up accountability.
Yeah, right. I need competition. You
Right.
need accountability.
And I like free movies when you guys lose, so
I
let's
know.
do
I'm gonna
this.
pay up
You
tonight.
like both, probably.
All of the above. Yeah,
Yeah,
bring it.
and so Matt, after losing 2 times in a row, although the second one was better, it was like Griff one had like 87 points, I had 80, and McGill had like 70.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So it's
Well, I
close.
didn't, yeah, I
In the
didn't.
zone.
So it's the last
Yeah,
3
Way
days.
up from 11 the first round.
Yeah.
So that's good.
The first round was like
Right.
90, 87, 11.
11. It was like, Matt, are you playing?
And then now he's just said, I'm not in anymore.
he just
Yeah,
quit.
I'm out.
He just
I'm gonna
totally.
cut my losses.
Speaking of that, we need to go to the movies. Have you guys seen
That's
Jack
what we-
Reacher? Terrible.
Terrible movie.
All right.
I took
So-
one for the team.
Send questions into
Project
Youth
Future.
Ministry Garage.
Go to Youth Ministry Garage, type in your question, hit submit. We'll get it and we'll answer it. Talk about it on the show.
All right,
Yeah.
and download youthministry.com. Do we have a? Because we're now sending out weekly
Yes.
emails.
Sign up for the email, and there's a $1 download every week, but only through the email. You can only find out about it through the email.
Wow,
like that.
one book.
This is from Dave.
That's awesome.
Dave,
Sign up
I'm
for spam.
I'm crossing out his
I
last name.
Appreciate that.
Oh, he doesn't want to be heard.
I
You gotta call us
maybe.
out.
Said,
I'm 18 years into a church as a youth minister,
wow.
18 years.
and the youth ministry is going pretty well.
That's great.
Oh,
However, the church as a whole is
Yeah.
seriously
Yeah.
declining.
What are you
Just
emailing
like
us for?
That's true. He should be sitting right there.
Yeah.
And he just might. The church as a whole is seriously declining. We are watching attendance slide badly on
Oh,
Sundays.
crap.
Giving is down. Budgets keep getting slashed, and there is just a general deadness among the people. The pastor does not lead well, which doesn't help the direction of the church, but doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon.
Like
My-
we need a new senior pastor.
My supervisory board has also been super critical of me this year, despite the youth ministry being one of the strengths of the church right now.
Yeah.
This is what's really discouraging. In addition, my wife is absolutely sick of going to church here, and my own teenage kids, while they say they want to stay, seem to lack enthusiasm for the church. Can't say I would choose to go to this church right now if I didn't work here. I really wonder if I'm done here. Yet we have had trouble knowing if all of this is God moving us on or if we're just supposed to be in the wilderness.
Stand in the gap.
Anyway, anybody got going through anything similar with insights out there?
How do you know when it's time to go?
Yeah.
He's thought through.
So
the
18
initial
years. Is it dead and time to leave? Is it desert and I just need to wait?
Dead or desert? Way to go.
Bud. Oh, man.
Way to go.
Log
Preach.
that trash.
Yeah, I am.
Do it.
Dead or desert. Wow.
Wow. Some people just
have it.
The Holy Spirit. You're like glowing.
Just have it.
Yeah.
Like put a veil on. Put a scarf on that.
Put an answer on this thing. Okay?
It's time. 18 years, you've seen it all.
No,
You've been through deserts before. You know the difference.
We can't answer
No,
this
we
question.
can.
No,
Go.
we
It's
can't.
time to go.
We can't answer this question.
In 18 years, you have seen deserts. You understand the difference. You know. That's why he's fighting against it. It's time to go. Just go.
I like when
18
Josh shows up.
years.
When Griff has an opinion.
Well, I'm
Sorry, I had a Luna bar earlier, so I'm a little emotional.
I don't even know what these things are.
Very funny. Very funny.
It's got
Because
folic acid.
it says the whole nutrition bar for women.
I'm sorry. I'm just emotional. It's that. No, I'm serious. He has seen this before.
You're
time.
you're definitely in a place of reflection. If nobody in your family, including you, wants to go to church
tough.
there, I mean
That's
that
tough.
is a something. That's not a nothing. And not that you can't be a part of the change, but sometimes you can't. I mean, sometimes you aren't. So I don't know. I mean, are you asking the direct questions? Are you really seeking out, okay, Lord, is it time for us to move on, or are you just,
He's stopped believing in the church. He's stopped believing in the senior pastor. And his community has stopped believing. It's time to move on.
Spin doctor.
What do you think, Matt? You haven't had the easiest of years.
I haven't had the easiest of life. What are you talking
Oh,
about?
what?
You live on easy street.
Easy street. Do we have to get into this? Do we have to get into this, how privileged you are?
Hand me one of your iPads and I'll tell you how privileged you are.
Oh gosh.
How do you know? How do you know?
That's a total get.
No,
I've totally got him
Okay,
right
come on,
there.
let's finish this.
Yeah.
No, okay. I don't think we can. I don't think we can answer this question. I think that you have framed it well. I think that God does speak to us to our discontent, and I think that sometimes it's time to move, and sometimes it's time to change your heart. And so I think some kind of change needs to happen. You need to change your situation, or you need to change your heart. I think that for the situation that I'm in, 2 years ago, before I took this position at Mariners, I felt like God was calling me, but I really said, like, the conversation for me with God was, I need to know what you're calling me to do. I need to know what the boundaries are, because there's going to be church politics. I mean, there is no green, grass is not greener, and the reality is that there's Christians suffering really horrible things in our world. And so, if I'm going to go into another place, I'm not going to leave just because I'm suffering a bad church culture. Like, I mean, because of that, I needed to know what my boundaries were. And so I knew that I was going, and I was called to do this, this, and this. I knew what I needed to succeed was this, this, and this. And, so for me, I just had, I had a frame for what I was called to do, who I was called to be, how I wanted to lead, and what my goals were. And so, we've talked a lot about this on the show, that, there's been times where there's been some disappointments and things like that, where those things have kind of been, I don't want to say attacked, that's not the right word, taken away or challenged. Some of those things are challenged that I've been called to do. That's a long way to say, if you can figure out what it is you're called to do. I know you've done youth ministry for 18 years, but which is awesome, and I think we all that is awesome. We should have some kind of a prize or something. But to just really say, okay, what is it that God wants me to do for my next season of ministry, even if my next season's here? I am called to, to teach, to do this, to do that, to do this. If you can still do what you're called to do, then somehow you change your heart. But I'm
and
not
you
saying
change your spouse's heart and your kid's heart too.
You can't do that too. I think what you can do is if you feel like, no, this is the place where we're supposed to be, then I think you can lead like that. Not that you would lead and automatically change the way everybody's feeling in your family. I don't think you can do that. But I think you can say, no, you guys, this is where I'm at. What do you guys? And this is why. This is where I'm at. And maybe their hearts will follow. And honestly, is that if everyone in your family hates it there, and even if you can get your mind around it, and you're like, no, I can endure this wilderness, but everyone else hates it, I don't know. I think you want to do what your family is pretty key. And then, is it time to leave? Sounds like it probably is. I really don't think we can give a definitive answer, and I don't think you just give it a definitive answer.
Maybe not definitive.
No, but to say
you talk yourself into Josh's.
No, I'm not. No, I said
so
it. I'm saying. Yeah, no, I'm
right.
saying.
That's right. You're right here.
No,
Drop
but
the
I mean, I'm leaning. But why not be the senior pastor? Oh, the senior pastor's going to stay there for a while.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere.
Stage a coup? Certainly an option.
Yeah.
That's the way most church split.
Yeah, split that thing. Take the half you like.
Split that sucker.
Hey, let's wrap it up.
Hitman.
Let's wrap it up. I started the clock late, and we're going long. And here's the deal. Next show, I've got some big news.
Oh, wow.
That's big news.
All right.
Well, you taking a cue from Youth Ministry 360?
Yeah, you're not telling us.
Hanging.
Yeah. Look at that.
It's called a cliffhanger.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Okay.
Will you tell us right now? After
Yeep,
we're done?
yeep,
After we
yeep.
sign
I
off?
sure hope we know. Well, after I go to the bathroom, I drank a whole bottle of water.
Did you? No.
We need to wrap this show up for my bladder's
Okay.
sake.
Okay. Love you guys.
Bye.
Oh, love you guys too.
I love you.
Do you
I was
love
talking
them or
to
do you
them.
love me?
And gals.
I love you too.
I love
them a little bit more.
Our team.
We're all,
Yeah.
Is that
we're
the
all
team
same.
that's
Yeah,
out there?
it's
The team.
Team family.
Bye, team.
Just staff meeting.
Yeah.